Nautiam in istacha, o helix and quinus natacha litiakaya, sahueltanat sinasnat chachlumison. Hello everyone, thank you for inviting me here today to share a few poems with you. I'd like to begin by thanking the Washington State Arts Commission and Humanities Washington for their support of the Washington State Poet Laureate Program. I'll begin with some pantoums that I wrote. This first one is in celebration of salmon, on which so much else in the Salish Sea bioregion relies. It's called Focus and Circuli, Songs Sung on the Salmon Scale. A salmon is a song sung in rounds, a series of concentric circles like a raindrop in the sea, rippling out and returning. A series of concentric circles, a chorus and a verse, rippling out and returning in a shining body of treasure. A chorus and a verse, a hero home from adventure in a shining body of treasure, bearing gifts from the deep. A hero home from adventure, like a raindrop on the sea, bearing gifts from the deep. A salmon is a song sung in rounds. So, I recently learned that a salmon scale is called a cycloid, and it has rings like a tree that ripple out from what is called a focus. The center is the focus, and you can actually tell how old a salmon is based on the number of rings around the focus. So I thought that was really cool. And I thought that this pantoum structure, which is, it has repeating lines that kind of cascade throughout the poem, I thought that that reflected the salmon's journey very nicely. So it seemed the form fit the content. This next poem is also a pantoum, which I wrote in response to Seattle civic poet Jordan Amani Keith's call to women poets to respond on the theme of the struggle, on the topic of the struggles faced by orcas in the Salish Sea, and as you know, how they can be related to struggles by women living in urban environments. So it addresses some of the harder things that orcas have had to face, and also the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women. It's called Silence from the Deep. How do we mistake desolation for peace? These daughters stolen, these daughters starved. Waves say hush along the beach. Under the waves there is no reprieve. These daughters stolen, these daughters starved. The matriline dwindles as girls go missing. Under the waves there is no reprieve. From human noise, pollution, hunger. The matriline dwindles as girls go missing. The world is a mirror of our hearts. Look away. From human noise, pollution, hunger, everything is endangered or going extinct. The world is a mirror of our hearts. Look away, so as not to see how under the waves, everything is endangered or going extinct. When orcas no longer sing, will we see how under the waves that say hush along the beach, when orcas no longer sing, will we see how we mistook desolation for peace? So next, I'd like to read a poem about interconnection, because as you know, everything in the Salish Sea, there's this beautiful web of life that's interconnected. And the poem is called The Frolicsome Crests and Glistening, with an epigraph by Walt Whitman. What is it then between us? There are 20 million pounds of gold suspended in normal seawater, spread out in parts per trillion. Gold is a good conductor of electricity, but seeing how it's sought, I'll bet it's the best conductor of a heart's deepest want. I once had a conversation with my daughter in which she asked, "Do you believe everything is connected?" "That depends," I said. "On what?" she asked. "On whether you're being spiritual or conspiratorial." "Spiritual," she said. "Then yes," I said, "everything is connected." "How can everything be connected spiritually but not conspiratorially?" she asked. "Considering it, I believe the spirit conspires against our errant belief that we are separate. I might be you, you might be me, we might be the living sea, with 20 million pounds of gold shimmering, suspended between us, conducting our heart's deepest wants across frolicsome crests and glistening. And what else could it be if not a spiritual conspiracy? It wasn't that long ago. It was 2 generations ago, when my grandmother was a girl, and this region, this bioregion, still was healthy enough to sustain the people. And I think that nature is so resilient and so wise. I think that if we stop impacting it and are conscientious of how we're living and try to live in a way that is less impactful, that it will heal itself, that things can come back, that the salmon can return and the orcas can return. I don't think it's too late yet. So that gives me hope. And I'd just like to say happy Orca Month, and I wish you all the best. Hai Kutcha.